This case study is focusing on the current state of professional learning at School X and the problems of establishing an effective professional learning community, a PLC. School X offers weekly professional development opportunities internally. However, these PD and PLCs are very broad and rely on teacher volunteers. Although this does promote positive collaboration and ownership of these professional learning opportunities, it does create a gap in ensuring these PLCs do encourage improvement of teacher practice. This gap has allowed PL opportunities to be more focused on allowing the main organiser to improve their own CV rather than supporting the career progression of their colleagues. This case study will explore this gap further and analyse recommendations to ensure teaching staff are provided with suitable learning opportunities that encourage professional development of all involved. I myself am a classroom teacher. I am a subject coordinator for 8 Science and 8 Geography, and next year I'm going to be in a year coordinator role. School X is a low socio-economic school which has around 2,200 students. Teachers struggle with behaviour management on a daily basis, but also with the lack of technology available to students, not just at school, but also within their own homes. It has around 220 teaching staff. Its ICSIA level is 952, which is below the average, and the school disadvantage index is 947. Also looking at the graph available, you can see that the bottom quartile is the main distribution of our students. We only have 4% that are actually within the top quarter, further outlining that this school is of a disadvantage. A large staff enrolment outlines the need for strong PLCs and also to ensure that staff are achieving mandatory hours. So to encourage this, there was a freedom of PLCs to form, and due to the very large number of lockdowns occurring, staff were struggling to reach their mandatory hours. So volunteer teachers are running PLC workshops, and there was a lack of a leader coordinator to ensure that teacher practice was actually being improved. So workshops like making jam and yoga were run by volunteer teachers to assist with achieving the mandatory hours, but there was a reduced number of PDs offered that focused around the EDU standards, improvement of teacher practice, or self-reflection. So this in turn reduces teachers' abilities to self-reflect on their teaching practices. And as Dinham had recognised, teachers are more made than born. And although making, it needs to continue career long. So we need to ensure that these opportunities are being met with strong leadership. These opportunities have now prevented teachers to develop their professional abilities, and it reduces their comfortability with the common language terms of the EDU standards. It reduces their abilities to self-reflect on their teaching practices. Dinham recognised that one of the biggest barriers with encouraging professional learning was ensuring that teachers saw the purpose. However, this was overshadowed by the needs of achieving the mandatory hours. Therefore, the encouragement of the random PLCs emerged to fix the problem of teachers not completing their professional development. This then created the messy pathway because there was actually 2 deputies in charge of this management. One just focused on the PLCs and the other managed the PD opportunities. Darling Drummond recognised that teachers' professionalism is where the focus is reflected back to improving students' learning outcomes by teachers ensuring they're developing their practice. And this has now been overshadowed just by teachers trying to clock up the hours by doing quick and fun activities by their peers. By having 2 deputy principals in charge of pretty much the same subject is a very messy way of managing this. Staff are unsure and unclear of who is in charge of what. One is in charge of the PLCs and the other of the PD opportunities in-house. Additionally, there was a new position created this year for our PLC coordinator. This person created the timetable of internal PDs, for example, and it's a new position that's just been put in place. The PLCs are not well advertised and are up to the teachers to create and manage themselves. So that can have the positives, as Dinham and Defoe recognise that if admin are not involved / leading that teachers are more comfortable to take risks and allow further learning. Negatively, though, teachers don't understand what this learning really means and how to create a PLC, nor see a purpose behind them. Therefore, the problems of establishing effective professional learning communities at School X is the lack of clear management of the PLCs. The PLCs don't contribute to improvement of better teacher practice or self-reflection. The professional learning is seen more as a ticking the box of mandatory hours than self-improvement, and teachers aren't aware of the possibilities they have with creating PLCs as a collaborative network. The current responses that School X has implemented is the restructuring of the Professional Learning Coordinator for 2022. So rather than a volunteer, it's now actually a position of added responsibility, which has been given time release. So the new teacher in charge also has very high credentials. The new position coordinator has now surveyed staff and is developing a strong PD timetable, utilising teachers who can share their expertise. However, Dinham did recognise that learning needs to be continuous and it needs to have time for reflection and support after the initial seminars. And these internal seminars are actually one of the lowest successes for teacher learning. It is great to have teachers working with their colleagues as it creates a safer feeling and environment to take risks in. There is still a lack of a clear leader who's responsible for encouraging the teachers to work collaboratively and become a community of learning. Therefore, through thorough analysis, there are three suggested approaches. The first is a restructuring of the leadership. The second, involving and creating a collaborative community. And the third, reducing the focus and broadness and creating a clear structural plan. The first approach is restructuring of leadership. So having a clear structure of one deputy who oversees the process. And this will ensure fairness, but also more organisation because the one person will be organising and managing the PLCs and PDs. This can restrict the opportunities as the one deputy may already have a lot on their role, and it could also cause less involvement of the whole admin team working collaboratively to promote PL. Utilising the coordinator to interact with teachers to create a safe environment where teachers feel comfortable to take risks is also part of this approach. This is going to encourage a positive learning environment. A coordinator to manage and interact with teachers is the better option than a deputy. Teachers will feel more comfortable to talk comfortably and honestly to really critically self-analyse their teaching practices. The second approach is involving and creating collaborative community. So the coordinator creates and manages a PLC to connect all staff rooms throughout the school and work together to ensure all peer opportunities are what teachers want and need, relate to teacher practice, and conducted when teachers can join. This will encourage teacher buy-in. It will allow teachers to feel like they're being listened to and find purpose in their professional learning. It also ensures management of PL so follow-up sessions can occur and learning needs to be continued over time, not done in just one session. However, the negatives here are teachers are already struggling with workload, so ensure that it doesn't take up too much of their time, and especially with afternoon meetings. It needs to ensure that teachers see the purpose and put the effort in, or it just won't improve. The third and final approach is reducing the focus and broadness and creating a clear structural plan. So by creating a year plan and structure of PL opportunities that ensure either ATEL standards are achieved or it relates to better teacher practice. Additionally, there is going to be a requirement to reduce the PLCs that are created. Still encourage teachers to work collaboratively, but random PLCs should not equal their PD hours. So the ATEL standards allow teachers to feel comfortable in the language and ensure they have self-reflective practices. Additionally, another positive is that it's ensuring teachers are utilising their time more efficiently. The downside of this is that it could reduce the morale due to the change, and if not done effectively, it could create PLCs that lack ongoing integration. When all three of these approaches are done effectively, it should create a new leadership structure that resembles something like this. Teaching staff that are contributing and learning at multiple peer opportunities and able to feel like they're in control of their own learning and work collaboratively in PLCs without admin watching their steps. There will be a professional learning group of volunteer teachers that work with the coordinator and connect the staff rooms together to ensure that all peer opportunities are what the teachers want and relate to professional learning. The PD coordinator will then oversee that process by creating clear yearly plans that allow for multiple peer opportunities for staff and encourage school-wide collaboration. And lastly, the deputy principal is to oversee the process, manage the funding and the paperwork, but not be seen too much as watching staff steps, but being seen as a bit of the shadow in the background, ensuring things go smoothly. Therefore, by restructuring the leadership responsibilities to ensure fluidity and clarity, then the PLCs will be more effective. School X does run some great PLCs, mostly their beginning teacher mentor program. It's a great example of the restructure, where teachers are listened to in a safe environment and can easily ask for help. However, the PD and PLC opportunities School X offers is not relating enough to the ATEL standards or the improvement of teacher self-practice. And they're either just there to meet mandatory hours or are not clarified enough amongst teachers. This can be improved by implementing the 3 recommendations to shape the leadership team to a successful structure that promotes professional learning. These 3 recommendations will work together to create a new restructure of the leadership that allows for effective professional learning communities to take place